Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your hosts, special effects makeup artist supreme, Elena Morales, and your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
Hey, everybody. Elena and I are super excited for the launch of Horror 421, the podcast. We're so glad you're here with us today. Say hello, Elena.
Hello, fellow friends and podcasters. Hello.
We're beyond the moon, but what we thought we would do today, since it's our first broadcast, is we're going to kind of go through our backstory just a little bit. We won't bore you too much, but we'll kind of tell you what led us up to this today and then our subject for today. So with that being said, I'm going to let the lovely and talented Elena Morales tell us her backstory, and then I will share my information. So go ahead, Elena, take it away.
Well, my friends, so I kind of started out as a awkward child. I was always the different kid. I used to color my fingernails with markers when I was a kid because I just liked colors, and I used to cover myself in tattoos, always drawing in sketchbooks and everything like that. And I want to say I kept doing that, and then finally around 18 or 19, I was like, if I can do it on paper, I probably can do it on faces and maybe my own. So I started painting my own face with very horrible clogging the pores of makeup. And I just kept going and going, and now I get to do all kinds of fun body painting. I had a chance to work in the haunt now, so I work at Nightmares Gate Haunted House, and life's been really adventurous since I've gotten into the makeup world and the world of horror, and had so many different opportunities to be working with Charles on book covers, and it's been insane over the past 5 years, and I hope it doesn't slow down anytime soon because I'm having fun.
Awesome.
What about you, friend?
Well, my story started in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago.
In the time of dinosaurs. Just kidding.
Not far off. But way back in the late 70s and early 80s, my mom was an avid, well, she still is, I believe. My mom was an avid reader. So one day I picked up a Stephen King book called Carrie, and that began my obsession with all things Stephen King. So at that time, I read everything the man had written. So, what a lot of you have probably read, Carrie, Pet Cemetery, all the early stuff, Thinner, which he wrote as Richard Bachman, by the way, Christine, all of his early stuff. So I couldn't get enough of Stephen King. And when I was in high school, I wrote my first novel. It was called The Burning Light. And no one outside of a couple of friends and an economics teacher saw that book. It was typed up on an electric typewriter that I got for Christmas that year. And I thought I was the shit because I had a nice fancy electric typewriter. And it was about a 400-page novel. And my economics teacher was wanting more pages every week. He really got into it. So that started my journey, and I wish I could find that manuscript. It was put in an attic one day after my wife and I got married at my in-laws' house, and we couldn't find it. So I guess it was destroyed. So that's a sad, sad story. But over the last few years, in 2013, I got the itch to really write again. And that was after my daughter graduated high school. And this germ of a story came in my brain. It was ended up being called Black Tears. It was an ebook that I released on Amazon just to kind of test the water. There wasn't a print version available, and there isn't a print version available now. But I tested the water and got some positive response. And then the next thing that happened was I had another idea for a story set in a small town in Millen, Georgia ended up being called Mrs. Phil's Journal. And that's kind of where everything took off. That one has been my most popular, best-selling, and most reviewed book to date. Elena's heard this spiel before because when she met me at my table at Days of the Dead, that's probably what I led off with. But that book really has been a godsend to me because it really started all this stuff. And I was fortunate enough to meet Elena and Dustin, her boyfriend, at Days of the Dead a few years ago. And I can't remember which year. Was it 2018, maybe?
It was 2018.
2018. And they came walking up, and they were in, I believe, were you guys in the Frankenstein get up that day? I can't
The
remember.
first day we did like this demon look, and I absolutely hated looking on it because I hate it now. Would probably want to redo that soon.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm over 50 now, so I can't remember what I did yesterday. But they came walking up, and I thought that they looked really, really, really cool, and they did. And I really wanted to talk to them just because of the look that Elena and Dustin had. So I was blown away the first time I met them, and kind of blossomed from there. She picked up a few books, and she read some, and she liked them, and then we kind of started going back and forth. And without going through the long, drawn out version, we became friends. So last year's Days of the Dead, 2020, in February, before the shit hit the fan, she made me up as a scary clown, which was fun for me. I don't know how they stay in that makeup all day. It was driving me crazy by the end of the day, but she made me look super scary, and it was fun. So I had a great time doing it. And I've been fortunate enough to visit the haunt where Elena works, and I've seen her in action. She's super talented. I'm in awe of her skill. And she knocks out all these actors who play their parts in the haunt, and they do such a great job, and people are scared shitless when they come out of there, and she contributes to that. Not only does she do the makeup, she's a solid actor in there too. So she kind of showed me her little scare area. So I had nothing but fun when I visited back in October. So that's kind of a brief, short synopsis of what I'm doing and where I'm at. I've written 12 books. Yeah, 12. Midnight Rider was my latest release, just came out on Halloween. And I do want to share a couple things that Elena did before we kind of dive into the subject of today's podcast. For those books, she did covers for 2 of the books, and I will hold that one up. You see that pretty face? That is Elena's pretty face. And she did the cover for Horror 421, The Road to Terror. It was a collection of short stories. And not only did she do the cover, she did all of the inside images, which you can't see very well, but that's her and Dustin. So Dustin makes a special appearance in a couple of those, Valley Rat, and I have a special demon appearance in the book by Mazeus. Anyone who's read Mrs. Fields' Journal or that trilogy, you know exactly who that dude is, and he's bad news. But Elena did all the cover work. That's right. So she did a great job. And speaking of the haunt, this was my latest release, and that creepy guy holding the knife, the serial killer, that's actually her boyfriend. So don't tell anybody. And that's one of her friends that works at the haunt. Her name is Allie, and she did a super job. I love the stare. She just knocked it out of the park. So
we actually slightly tortured her that day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to drag her on the floor a little bit, get her a little dirty. It was a lot. She was kind of mad at me at the end of the day, but I mean, I didn't abuse her like they did Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining because, I'm a little bit of a humanitarian, so I care about people. Just kidding.
But Elena did a great job. And, that's kind of my introduction. I tend to ramble sometimes, and Elena can definitely drag me in when I do that. But we're just happy to be here. We're happy to do this, and we want to do this every other week, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to have guests, and we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff. Now, today's topic we're going to dive into just a little bit because it's a passion of mine, but I think Elena is even more passionate about it than I am. But don't get me wrong.
Obsession is the word.
Yeah, obsession for her.
Yes.
I'm definitely a fan, and I love the man so much that leads what we're going to talk about, the actor. But I will go ahead and reveal what we're going to talk about today. I kind of put it in the podcast earlier, but we're going to talk about the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Look at that sexy man right there.
I know, isn't he? So,
Sexually confusing people since 1974. Yes.
and so we'll talk a little bit about this and why we like it so much. And Elena has some great things to share about some personal experience she's had, meeting some of the folks. So I will give you a little backstory about Rocky Horror, just a tiny one, and then I'm gonna let Elena talk for a little while because you're probably tired of hearing me talk already. But there's a man named Richard O'Brien, and he created the Rocky Horror Show, and he himself came out and said, it was either the work of a genius or a madman. And if you've seen it, and millions upon millions of people have seen it, I think both answers apply. Yes, it's a work of genius and a work of a madman. So Richard O'Brien did a fantastic job. It wasn't a hit out of the gate. It actually flopped when it premiered uh, as a motion picture, but boy, did it take on a life of its own uh, in midnight showings across the United States. And I got caught up in that, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a little while. But I want to turn it over to Elena so she could share some of the things and some of her experiences with Rocky Horror, and she shared some with me, and some of them are really outstanding, and I can't wait for you guys to hear them. So go ahead, Elena.
So I will say, sorry, Mom, get mad all you want to, but the first time I ever watched Rocky Horror, I was actually 2 years old. I liked musical films, so that really just kept me busy, like The Yellow Submarine, Rocky Horror, Wizard of Oz, all of the musicals. You want it, I listened to it, you know. And I was really obsessed ever since then. Like I just could not stop watching it, and it was one of those movies you can watch once a week, and I'd be okay with it, and I did all the time. It's still a ritual now to this day. I have ooh, like 10 different editions of the DVD collection. I have no idea. I even have one with Shock Treatment in it. Did you ever watch Shock Treatment, the sequel?
I did not watch Shock Treatment, the sequel. That's on my
It,
list now.
I'll let you
Yep.
borrow it. It's
Okay.
different. I honestly don't even know what it's about. I can't even, because I've only watched it like 3 times because Tim Curry's not in it. If Tim Curry's not in it, I don't want it. It is what it is. But yeah, no, Tim Curry. I just remember thinking when I was a kid, like, wow, she's really pretty. And I didn't, you didn't know anything when you're little.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't know.
that's
And then
right.
when I was 10, I was like, oh, that's a dude. Cool. I didn't care. I loved RuPaul. I loved Tim Curry. And there you go. And I think that's probably where my obsession with drag queens, transvestites, transsexuals, and all of that came from. I think that really brought on like the courage to do makeup in public. That was a big deciding factor in my life, that movie. Um, and plus, I think that's why I've always been so open minded growing up, too, because they had everything in the movie. Literally, everybody had sex with everybody, and I didn't question it. It just made sense. I was like, oh, okay, cool. No one cares.
That's
So I
right.
think that really brought on a lot of my like quirks and stuff, and that's why I'm kind of open minded. Everybody's like, really? Yeah, I don't. Tim Curry did it. It's fine. We're good. He makes the rules. And I've had the opportunity to meet Barry Bostwick. I met him actually in August at Days of the Dead this year, and he's really tall. Like he's 6'4".
Oh wow.
And so he was funny because he saw a picture of me and Dustin dressed as Magenta and Riff Raff, and he said he would shadow cast us in a minute, and I was like, thanks. I didn't know what to say. I was just kind of playing with my hands, like, hi. And he
And
did
I'm
this.
gonna jump in real quick. The her makeup of Riff Raff and Magenta, we're gonna share that on a future podcast because it's amazing, and they look like they could walk right onto a play set or a feature film anywhere. There we go. It was there. You go. It blew my mind when I saw it. But anyway,
It's one of my
I
favorite
didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, erupting. Oh my god, bruv. Um, yeah, the Rich, not Richard O'Brien. I'm sorry, Barry Bostwick. I think I asked a question. I said, who was the bigger diva on set, Richard O'Brien or Tim Curry? And he said Tim Curry was an absolute gem, very professional. And he said, Richard O'Brien wrote this story much like his life. He said he's a very eccentric individual who is just, and I would love to meet that man because seriously, he is insane. Like
Well, did you know where he got the saying "Don't dream it, be it"? Do you know where he found that?
I know I've read it somewhere before on where he found it, and
Well,
it's been so long.
yeah. Well, I've watched a few documentaries on the subject, and he actually found that in a Fredericks of Hollywood catalog.
I can see
And
that.
so, yeah, he took it right out of there, which fits the theme. You know, if you see Frankenfurter and what he's dressed up in with his fishnets and everything, so he pulled that right out of a Fredericks of Hollywood catalog. So I thought that was super interesting
I
when he said
fully
that.
intend to do that cosplay one day. It will happen. I'm gonna do it. It will happen. I just need to get the courage to do that, but it's going to happen. I
Nice.
guarantee.
Well, all I know is it's a movie that's over the years has refused to die. And the first time I saw it, I was a late comer as far as Rocky Horror fans go, because the movie had been out since 1975, obviously. And I got a knock on my door. I was in high school, and my bedroom was located right near the back door. And it was probably 11:15 at night, and someone was pounding on the back door. I was like, "Who the hell is this?" I was laying in my bed listening to music, and I jumped up because I didn't want my mom to get up and get all pissed off. So ran to the back door, opened it, and it was one of my very best friends from high school. And I won't mention her name here because I didn't ask permission, but she said, "Hey, get in the car." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Just come on, we're going." And I was like, "Okay." So didn't tell my mom anything, just left and jumped in the car with her. And there were two other people that I was friends with in the car. I was like, "Where the hell are we going?" She said, "Don't worry about it. You'll be surprised." I said, "Okay." So we go to the Regency Mall in Augusta, Georgia, and there is a line of people dressed up in all kinds of crazy stuff I had never seen in my life. I'm like, "What are we doing? What is this?" And she's like, "Don't worry about it. You're gonna love it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Still had no idea. So waited in line. They opened the doors. We went in. We sat down. The red lips came on the screen, and I looked over at her. I said, "What in the hell are we watching?" She said, "Don't worry about it. You're gonna love it." So then people were yelling at the screen and freaking throwing rice and calling Brad an asshole, and I was like, "What is this? This is nuts!" And then when Tim Curry came on the screen, my jaw dropped, and I had never seen anything like it in my entire life, and that started my fandom of Rocky Horror. Now, I won't say obsession, that's Elena's, realm, but, it did start my fandom, and I have, like, a yearly ritual like Elena does, really mostly around Halloween time. It's really not, you know it's
Mine's
just
weak.
yeah, it's just the time that I pop it in and watch it. So I only have one edition of the DVD, the one you saw, so I don't have 40 something editions, but or whatever you said, or 10 editions or whatever. But
We're gonna pretend I didn't say that.
okay.
Okay, that's the stalker.
But yeah, I've kind of been obsessed a little bit with the movie since. So it's been a great ride. And not only do I love Rocky Horror, I love other things that Tim Curry has been in. The It movie back, the TV movie back in the day. But my second favorite Tim Curry movie, behind Rocky Horror will always be my first. But my second favorite is Legend.
I don't
And
remember the last time I actually watched Legend. It has been
a,
so long, and
a
everybody
lot
thought
of
I fever dreamed that.
Well, a lot of people don't like Legend, and it is a fairy tale,
Well,
and
those people are wrong.
he plays a character called Darkness, and he is amazing in this. So if you're a Tim Curry fan, you haven't seen Legend, you need to see Legend. Tom Cruise is in it, Mia, whatever her name is, Mia Sarah or whatever it is, but he steals the show just like he does everywhere else he's on. But his portrayal in that movie is awesome. So Tim Curry's number one in my book. I'm a fan. I would love to meet him one day. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to meet him, Elena, but I haven't. So I'd love to
I
meet that
have
guy one day.
not, and I hope to God I do. I have a signed picture of him as Frankenfurter, and I cried my eyes out when I got it because I didn't know I was getting it. Dustin, it was our third anniversary, so and he told me, he was like, "It's not here yet. I thought it would be here by now, but it's not because COVID kind of blocked everything like from getting here on time."
Right.
So he said, "This is what's coming. I'm letting you know it's happening." And I was like, "What?" And then it got here, and it'd been so long since he last told me about it, and then I got it, and I'm like, "It's so nice." And it doesn't say anything weird because I mean, obviously he had a stroke, and that makes me so sad because he just a gem of a human being, and he deserves all of the good things in the world. But it just says to Elena, and then it says Tim Curry, and I don't know. That just it was great. I love that. Um, I've seen him in a lot of movies too, especially in Muppets Treasure Island. Did everybody forget about that? But because he was
Yeah, I've seen
fantastic.
that too.
He was
Yeah.
fantastic in everything he does. But going back to what you said with It, not knocking the new It movies because what's his name?
It's Skarsgård or
Skarsgård.
something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I can't
I
remember
always
his
mix
first
up
name.
him and the older brother. So I was like, is it Bill? I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, but his faces, he does a really good job. But anyway.
He has this face, but Tim Curry is absolutely petrifying because I actually watched it again this year for the first time in a long time for Halloween. And I was like, damn, this is
Yeah.
this is weird. And it's a simple clown, and I was petrified of clowns for many, many years. And to the point where like Ronald McDonald was I'm sorry, Ronald McDonald still probably rapes children and is I'm just saying, that's just me. He's still
Yeah.
creepy. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, Tim Curry, I think his It performance was Chef Keys. Chef
Oh, yeah.
Keys.
Yeah,
And
Tim.
he was actually petrified of clowns. And he never wanted to see himself in makeup during that whole filming process.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, he actually was petrified of clowns. He almost turned down the role. And then they wanted to make it more of a creepier thing with all of the facial prosthetics and stuff. And he told them he didn't really want to be in makeup, that much makeup all day because the process was a lot. It was a lot to wear. He wanted it to be simple because a lot of people are scared of just that simple bit of clown, and it worked. So I thought that was really cool of him to do that. And plus, in a makeup stance, sometimes simpler is a little bit better, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Tim was amazing. He didn't need any over the top prosthetics. So, his face just told you a lot. And that's one thing I will say about the new It clown, Skarsgård, whichever one of those brothers it is. I can't remember which one he is. But I watched a documentary on that as well, or behind the scenes look. And while he did have a lot of prosthetics, that's true. A lot of his facial expressions are his facial expressions. So, and he demoed some of those on camera, and I'm like, dude, and the way he could cross his eyes, and so while he's not quite as creepy as Tim Curry, I will give him a shout out because he did a great job in the role. So I think Tim was proud of him and thought he did a good job. Now, of the two films, they're both definitely different because one's made for television and one's made for the theater. But I gotta say, I kind of like the first one a little bit better. The
Even
OG.
through its cheesiness, that 80 nostalgia feel to
Yeah,
it, even if it's made for TV, it was a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, you and I are preaching to the choir as far as Tim Curry's concerned.
pretty much.
He's awesome. I jotted down a few fun facts about Rocky Horror, and a lot of these I already knew, but it actually premiered on April Fool's Day back in 1976. So I don't think you're on the planet yet, Elena. But I was here. I think I was.
Unfortunately.
Let me see. So I was like 6 years old or 7 years old in
I missed out
1976.
on such good music, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
Kind of
yeah.
mad about it.
Yeah. And there were 100 tickets sold at the Waverly Theater in New York. So the first people who saw the midnight showing there was only 100, and it was 100 tickets at Waverly Theater, and that's kind of what started the snowball. That was the tiny snowball that started what it is now. Uh, so I think that's crazy, and I have no idea how much, you know, money that movie has brought in over the many many years it's been showing at midnight showings. But I know it cost $1 million for them to make it, so I think they made their money back.
Well, not to mention it was a play in London
Oh
for
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that's
for
right.
I can't remember how many years it ran for, but it was a play first.
Yeah.
And when they took it to, it's 20th Century Fox, correct?
Yes.
So when they took it to them, the main reason that Brad changed to an American character is because of that. They were going to keep it to the original cast, but 20th Century Fox wanted to bring in some American people. That's where Brad comes in at. And I think also, I can't remember if the professor was an original part of it or not, but I think he was also another casting thing from 20th Century Fox. Why
Yeah.
do I know this? I don't know. I just do. It's just there,
Well, I've watched a couple documentaries on it, and I know that in the U.S. run of the play of the musical, or whatever you want to call it, Meatloaf played a dual role. He was Eddie, and he was Dr. Scott. So he played two roles, which well, I don't remember the actor's name that played Dr. Scott, but I thought he was awesome in the movie. So I would have liked to kind of see Meatloaf's take on that character, playing two
Not to
roles. And
mention, Meatloaf got pissed when he realized what the movie was about because they didn't tell him anything. They just brought him on set. They were like, "Do your thing, brother. Do your thing." And then he sees Tim Curry and he's like, "Brr?
like,
What?"
what? Oh yeah, yeah. I think in that documentary I watched, he was like, "Yeah, I walked off the." He walked. I think it was the play first. He walked out of the. He walked out of the musical. He's like, "Nah, dude, I'm not doing this." And then they taught him back into coming back. Is what I remember. But it's funny though that I know Tim Curry was in everything Rocky Horror related, and Richard O'Brien obviously he wrote it. Uh, was Columbia, was the actress that played Columbia, was she also in the plays, or did she come on with the movies?
She was also part of the play, but she was cast through. Her tap dancing was actually her because I think she used to work at a soda shop, ice
Oh,
creamery
okay.
place, and that's what they did there too. And
Yeah,
that was
I
her.
want to call her my cousin because her last name's Campbell. So
Oh, look at that! You're famous.
that's right. Well, I'm already Valley famous. Ain't
Yeah,
that
you
right,
are
Valley
Valley
people?
famous, actually. Very Valley famous.
Valley famous. That's about as much as I can handle. But I don't know. This is great. Um, I'm trying to think of what else we could talk about as far as Rocky Horror goes. There's so much to talk about, um, but there's too much to talk about. If that makes sense.
Always too much to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, we're gonna play the game.
Okay.
And sorry for the vulgarity. Screw,
Okay.
Mary, kill. Tim Curry, Magenta, or Janet.
Oh my God.
Yep, you have to pick. It's
Well,
the rules.
Janet was hot though, so I'd have to pick the screw with her. Mary. God, I think Rocky. So, what were my choices again?
Frank, Magenta,
Frank
and Janet.
and Janet. All right, we got Janet out of the way. Man, if I married Frank, I'd be scared he'd kill me in my sleep, or just kill me
Life
in
would always
general.
be interesting, though, so you can always keep
Yeah.
that in
All right,
mind.
I'll marry him.
And he cheats
And
on you if he wants to, so you kind of don't
yeah.
really
All
have
right.
to
Well,
deal with it.
I'll kill Magenta. I don't really want to kill
Oh, yeah,
Magenta,
because
but
she kills Frank at the end, so she deserves
yeah.
to
All right. Well, that's my answer. How about you? Same question.
die. Well, Janet kind of got on my nerves.
All I saw was the bra, so she didn't get on my nerves. Anyway,
She had one of the best musical numbers in the movie, though, I will have to say. And but even so, she got on my nerves. So I'm gonna have to probably kill her first.
okay.
Yeah. I'm still marrying Frank though. Because life
Okay.
would always be interesting. I'd probably go with Magenta. She seems quiet, but normally the quiet ones are the cool ones. So probably go there.
Okay.
Probably go with that.
All right.
Now
Well, that's a.
I had to make the podcast awkward. You know how to do it. It is what it is.
Well,
Had to
that's
make
all
it
right.
awkward.
That's all right. Um.
What's your
Okay.
favorite musical number from the film? Other
Oh,
than Sweet Transvestite, because we all know that's the number one song. You're welcome.
see, you messed up my answer.
I did.
And it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be a popular answer. My second choice anyway. So I do like. I do enjoy the time warp. I'm sorry, I just do.
I actually really enjoyed Jack Black's version of it. I didn't think I would, and he killed it. I thought it was great. The new
Jack
one that
Black.
just came out.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It's
You
really
talking
good.
about the one? Is
It's
that the one with
what's his name from Tenacious D?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know who Jack Black is, but are you talking about the TV Rocky Horror that showed a few years ago?
No, he did one this year during COVID, and he featured
Oh,
Susan Sarandon and a couple other actors
oh crap.
around voting time.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look at that.
You
I
didn't hear
didn't
that
see
one
that.
yet? I'll be
No.
sending that to you because it's
All
fantastic.
right. Sounds great.
All right, all right. I think mine, probably Hot Patootie. It's
That's a good
always
one
on my
too.
top 25 most played songs of the year because it just
Yeah,
puts you in a good mood. That's a Friday
yeah.
song.
Well, I do have the vinyl, and I pop it in from time to time, and listen
I
to it.
didn't tell
So
you I got another one. I have 3 now of the vinyl.
I only got one.
I keep collecting
Oh,
them. I see
well,
them and
yeah.
I'm like I have to buy them. I have the one with all the callbacks on it.
Do you have a
And then
record player?
yes, I do. I do.
Okay, awesome.
I do.
All right.
We have the one callback vinyl, and then at Days this past August when I went, this guy was there. God bless the guy. I felt really bad for him because he has this business. He does like a bunch of collectible books and stuff, and it was actually the book that went along with the vinyl, and I didn't even know that was a thing. I found it for $20, and I was like, well, now I have to have it because I have it.
Yeah.
But no, he was there. I didn't tell you about it. He was in Atlanta. I've bought stuff from his vendor before, and I can't remember his name, but God bless. I hope he finds whatever happened. He got robbed in Atlanta, like of his laptop with all of his stuff that he's had for his entire business, all
Oh
of the money he
no.
had, and he flew out that next day. His credit card, everything was stolen. I was like, here's some cash, dude, because we're just going to pay in cash. It was so bad. It was so sad because his whole life was in his car. And basically, the
Oh
only thing the
man.
cops could say to him was, "Welcome to Atlanta."
Oh, that sucks.
Ah,
Yeah, that's terrible.
can
Oh
you
my gosh.
imagine?
No, I can't. I'd be
God,
wanting
that
to.
broke my heart. It broke my entire soul, actually. I felt so bad for that guy.
Gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks. Well, I plan on being at Days of the Dead in February. So my author buddy Bryce and I, we were making our plans to get there. We've got our tables, so we'll be there. If anyone listening is in the Atlanta area, Days of the Dead is at the Sheraton in downtown Atlanta, and I forget the dates this year, but they're in February. You can go look them up.
I'm going to
So,
look right now while we're here
all right, it sounds good.
because we need to meet our friends and fans.
That's right.
25th through 27th, guys. No,
25th
February
through the
25th,
27th.
27th.
Oh, that's almost my birthday. My birthday's February 28th. So
And that is why we're going to go see Rocky Horror Friday night at midnight.
that's right.
I decided. I think
Awesome.
that's what we're going to do. We should
That's a
probably.
great that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Well, we are 32 minutes into the podcast. I think we may be kind of wrapping up a little bit for the first episode, but we are excited to talk about some of the things that we have coming up. We're going to have authors, we're going to have makeup artists, we're going to have movie directors, we're going to have musical. I won't say musical guests because they won't be performing, but we'll have musicians as guests on our show, and we're going to talk things all related to horror and other things. So we'll be talking about horror for sure. That's why it's called Horror 421, the podcast. But we'll venture off into different areas from time to time. And I know Elena has some awesome guests lined up. We'll come out with names in the near future. I've posted a few of those names. But before we get off the air with our first podcast, I'm going to turn it over to Elena, see if there's anything else she wants to share. But we are so glad you guys joined the first episode, and we're excited to produce 100 of these or more.
So to spice things up a little bit, I was going to say, if anybody has any questions or things that they wish for us to talk about in future episodes, you should probably hit us up on Facebook or Instagram, wherever social media follows that you like the best. Tell us some topics you'd like to hear about, movies, books, any type of song you'd like to hear about, anything that we could answer for you. So we could do like a weekly segment, of, these are things people ask and we'll answer your questions.
And where can we find you on Instagram, Elena? I know where we can find you.
On Facebook, I'm under Elena Marie, to keep things a little bit private because I work in the medical field and I don't like everybody knowing my business. So it's just first and middle name. And then on Instagram, I'm under JukeboxBaby78. And that is also on TikTok as well if you would like to see my crazy shenanigans covered in body paint and makeup.
You have to watch her on TikTok. It's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing.
Even though
You
I
can
hate watching my own self because it's weird.
You can find me on Facebook if you search Charles Campbell Author. I'll show up, and you can contact me by messaging me through that page. Also have a website, valleyboypublications.com, where you can find my bookstore. You can go purchase books, but also have links to all my social media accounts on the webpage, so you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I don't do a whole lot of TikToking. That's Selena's thing, but maybe I'll get back into that a little bit. I do have an account, but I hardly ever look at it.
There's a lot of buttons. There's a lot of buttons.
I know, and I'm old, so it's a little challenging for me. But yeah, you can find both of us. You can message us. We're going to expand this thing. We're going to grow it, and we're going to have guests. We're going to have fun. And Elena's going to make it a lot of fun. I'm going to try to be as fun as I can. So it's a great time. So we really appreciate you guys joining in, and we look forward to doing this on a bi-weekly basis. We're going to try to do this every other week. This podcast will premiere when you're hearing it. Will be December 24th. So right before Christmas, a little extra Christmas gift for you for the holiday season. Elena, you got anything you want to say on the way out? Or
I think what I'm going to say is Merry Klima to everybody. I hope all of you have a very lovely Christmas, because by the time this happens, Santa will be coming down your chimney. At least I hope so. So, or Krampus, whichever, if you want to die by Krampus. That's always a nice Christmas treat. Just kidding.
That's a crazy movie too. I don't know if you've seen that, but
no, I didn't watch it yet. I want to.
Yeah, Krampus is pretty good. All right. Well, that being said, we're going to sign off. I'll come up with some catchy sign-off phrase for a future podcast. But for right now, we love you, and we want you to tune in and enjoy what we have to share every other week. This is Charles and Elena, and this has been the first podcast for Horror 421. Thank you guys so much.
Goodbye, lovelies.
Goodbye.
We hope you had a horrific time, lovelies. Thank you for tuning in to Horror 421, the podcast. Be sure to like us on YouTube and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.